The availability of Google services is taken for granted by everyone. We carry everything lightly from Gmail and YouTube to online storage search and smart homes. YouTube uploads 30,000 hours of video every hour. Nearly 230 million people use Google every day, and a massive number of emails are exchanged. Google controls around a third of the public internet in terms of connections. But on Monday, December 14, 2020, all Google services abruptly vanished. Users were denied access to their emails and removed from current Google Meet sessions globally. One Twitter user even claimed that his Google Home system had malfunctioned, leaving him and his kid alone in the dark. One of the most significant social media phenomena was the boom. It spread alarm among companies throughout the world. How was it possible for one of the biggest businesses to abruptly stop offering all of its services? What took place? Was this a scam? Even though the outage only took an hour in total, there was much confusion. Most folks simply forgot about it when it was all done and continued with their day. But after reflecting on the incident, several intriguing aspects come to light. In addition to consumers, Google is used by numerous companies that you would not expect. Is Google taking over the world? How does Google begin to avoid downtime? Let's have a look at this video. Welcome to the Technology Zone, where the home of technology resides. The Google outage brought on global chaos. Uber, Airbnb, Pinterest, Netflix, Spotify, Twitter, Instacart, and a long list of other large enterprises in the nation utilize Google. Moreover, employees are unable to access not just these services through Gmail but also the entire system. Many businesses operate Gmail for various purposes like authenticating your attempts to access multiple websites and web services. Salesforce, Dropbox, and countless other people who only use Google to access the internet were also affected, and that's unreachable in some instances as well. Additionally, it is affecting the real world. As you may be aware, Nest heaters that regulate heat, air conditioning, and similar systems appear to be broken worldwide. Although some businesses are already at a complete stop, you see, this should hardly be a wake-up call. After all, we are not dependent on it, right? I mean, this is it. It can really happen. Gmail, Google Play, YouTube, Google Docs, Google Drive, Nest Home Systems, and even Stadia were all no longer available at that time. The newsroom of the Wall Street Journal relied on Google services. As a result, several journalists were forced to use telephones to work together on articles during the outage. In the US, several schools had to be closed for the day. After Google crashed, Wayne Westland Community Schools in Michigan offered all 10,000 of its kids the day off. For courses, the school used Google Meet. Due to the ongoing pandemic, online programs are prominent. There have also been instances when the management of medical businesses has been unable to contact clients or check on the availability of doctors and other medical professionals. People and organizations are becoming more dependent than ever on internet services, and Google is the most popular in this area due to remote work and study. Globally, the interruption had an impact on billions of individuals. So what took place? Google's system for authenticating login credentials had a malfunction, a representative for the business told the Wall Street Journal. This answer doesn't tell us much, but it's about all that Google is willing to say concerning the issue. She said that internal systems caused the problem and that a cyber assault was not the case or even one of the causes. Just maybe, as you'll discover later in the program, there's much more to this interruption than it first appears. It is pretty unusual for Google to experience a global outage of this scale because several servers located worldwide service even just a single physical region. In the event of a problem, several backups are available on even these servers. As we've seen, the fact that so much trade and so many people's livelihoods depend on Google. It presents some important issues. What if Google was out the next time for more than an hour? But how long? Companies all across the world might lose billions of dollars in income. Therefore, how does Google stop this? How can they practically never go down? Google refers to its strategy for maintaining service availability. SRE, also known as Site Reliability Engineering, was first used in 2006. SRE is a method of digital design. Essentially, Google's strategy is to have software developers manage software instead of IT professionals. DevOps is a term used to describe this mindset. Basically, software development coding that produces system administrator results. According to this line of reasoning, software developers will become wary of doing things by hand and will inevitably create tools to assist in automating the process so that no actual humans are required. Google has actually published a book about something like this. Google claims that SRE is its most crucial component. The statement by Todd Underwood of Google to Wired magazine in 2016 that "we long for the day when nobody runs anything" is intriguing because development and operations have historically been conflicting factions. The operations team wanted to ensure that none went wrong, and the easiest way to accomplish this was to limit the alterations to a minimum. However, the devs constantly wished to create new software and then get the modifications out to the market as quickly as possible. Google discovered a secret. By fusing development and operations, you may create a potent synergy for a dependable system. Given that Google is the world's greatest internet empire, it seems that the more people in charge, the higher the likelihood that something will go wrong. Just let the programming handle everything, but remember that human developers can still make mistakes. But there's also the issue of whether the Google empire is too vast. Some claim that Google's downtime, which briefly reduced billions of people's productivity worldwide, has yet established the strongest antitrust case. The US Department of Justice is presently suing Google for breaking antitrust rules. So yeah, Google is really too big, at least in the eyes of the US government. This is at least a generation's most famous antitrust case against such a tech business. Anything is possible in this situation, even the split of Google. The following details are taken from Morning Brew. Since Microsoft in 1998, Google's lawsuit is now among one of the most prominent antitrust cases. Although monopolies are not really totally illegal, excluding competitors is. The Department of Justice claims that Google illegally guarantees that its search engine is the default pre-configured option in mobile phones, from Apple's iPhone to its very Android phone, and that this excludes competitors. The lawsuit will take over less than a year to go to trial and is one of the many antitrust lawsuits against the firm. For nearly an hour, all of Google's services were unavailable worldwide. Pandemonium resulted for both individuals and corporations. Then we discovered how Google uses site reliability engineering to maintain operations. Now let's talk about hacking. Google therefore frequently hosts hacking competitions to counter the threat of hacking. These include hackers that alert security flaws so they may be corrected before malicious actors take advantage of them. This initiative, which Google refers to as the Vulnerability Reward Program, was initially introduced in 2010. Google claims that the top prize for successfully hacking a Google Pixel phone in 2019 was roughly $1 million. The Google outage happened just a few hours after it was determined that the US administration had been the victim of a foreign cyber assault. But the fascinating bit comes after that. The hack was so dangerous that a White House emergency meeting of the National Security Council was called. One of the most sophisticated cyber attacks ever observed, according to specialists. A software program named SolarWinds, which government agencies utilized, was compromised with malware during an update, which is what is known as a supply chain hack. Following this, the hackers had access to track internal correspondence and conduct widespread eavesdropping. The allegedly contaminated software update was first made available in March of 2020 and went undiscovered until a few weeks ago. SolarWinds software is utilized by hundreds of businesses and government agencies around the United States. The Department of Homeland Security, Department of Justice, Department of Defense, Treasury Department, NASA, the NSA, and other organizations were among those impacted by the breach. 425 of the US Fortune 500 corporations, as well as the top 10 US telecom firms, are reportedly all at risk. 18,000 customers reportedly installed the malicious update. Ironically, SolarWinds software checks for failures on government and commercial computer networks, which is the subject of this movie. Government representatives acknowledged that many of America's most closely held secrets might have been taken and that they were astounded by the complexity of the breach. They had access to various levels of credentials. In other terms, they entered through the back entrance and then managed to enter all of our houses, buildings, and government agencies through the front entrance. According to a Microsoft security specialist, the same SolarWinds software was the target of a second attempt by a different organization. We must wait and watch what occurs in this developing narrative. Well, I'm just speculating here, but what if this major Google outage was a reaction to the SolarWinds invasion? There may have been some service interruptions across all of Google's services as a result of the staff's hasty efforts to tighten security. And to put it bluntly, it is relatively unusual timing for a significant global outage to happen just a few hours after a powerful cyber attack on some of America's finest firms. In relation to this video's primary subject, Google's downtime serves as a sobering warning of our hyper-connected society. The business now serves as a bottleneck for several global operations. It has integrated into a vast system. If it fails, the effects will be enormous. It's rather unsettling for a single business to unintentionally become a worldwide productivity tie-up. This entire discussion hasn't even touched on privacy concerns, Google's dubious past, or having your online identity sold to advertisers. What can be done then? The answer is clear, I suppose. For every service that Google offers, there are alternatives. It actually depends on the specific person or company. It all boils down to giving up some of the convenience we've become accustomed to. So what are your opinions, guys? That we, people of the world, are far reliant on Google? Was the Google outage experienced even by you? How did you feel at the moment, if at all? Let me hear all of your stories and feedback in the comment section below. If you find this video engaging, consider subscribing and leave a like. Also, hit that notification bell icon to always be up to date with our new video. Again, this is Technology Zone. See you guys in the next one.